Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Madam President of Royal Institution of Singapore, Chancellor of the Royal Institution, the active team of the Royal Institution, honored guests, eminent speakers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Before I begin, let me thank our MC for the kind words and the long list of introduction given about me. Very good morning to you all. Thank you very much for this opportunity to make some brief remarks under the topic, Social Innovations and Inclusive Growth in Public Administration, the case of Maldives. Indeed, I'm honored to speak at this scholarly congress where we deliberate on challenges we face in our time with the honest hope of finding remedies from our experiences and researches. Some social innovations and inclusive growth are such topical subjects today as they occupy prominence in every development agenda. However, it is only a few organizations that have been able to come up with groundbreaking and paradigm-shifting ideas or strategies such as microcredit schemes, online schools, carbon trading. Similarly, welfare-based developed countries are able to enjoy inclusive growth by integrating all segments of their society into the gainful economic activity, if not providing unemployment benefits or attractive social security or protection. My country, the Maldives, being a small, unique society with a limited resource base and a developing public administration, we do not have much novel innovations to speak per se. However, allow me, Madam Chair, to share with this eminent Congress some success stories and challenges faced by the 8-year-old young civil service of Maldives, where I am privileged to sit currently at its steering wheel as president. Given the present politically charged nature of democratic developments in our country, some may say it would be more relevant to talk about political innovations and exclusive party politics in the Maldives than social innovations and inclusive growth. Having said that, let's take a note of the fact that the Maldives has been the first South Asian country to have enacted a codified constitution all the way back in 1932. Along with this, and also, Maldives is the pioneering state in SAARC region to have established first parliament in the region. Therefore, we have a proud political history to boast about and a homegrown public administration that has matured as an independent civil service with the enactment of our Civil Service Act on 1st of May 2008. The Maldives Civil Service is the largest employer in the country, with a labor force of more than 24,000. It is known as the main engine of the government, serving to execute development projects and service delivery to people. As the parental body, Civil Service Commission administers, supervises, and coordinates all the functions related to human resource management in 229 civil service units scattered across geographically dispersed islands of the Maldives. On December 21, 2015, our second strategic plan was launched, which is to run from 2016 to 2020. It is a blueprint or roadmap for undertaking many measures towards reforms and modernization of the Maldivian civil service. On the same date, another important document known as the National Training Policy for the Maldives Civil Service was adopted. And this document outlines trainings and professional development programs for human resource capacity development in the Maldives. To speak of social innovations, in the public administration of the Maldives, I would like to begin by mentioning the Civil Service Innovation Award, given biannually to recognize and to encourage innovative ideas, creative development projects, and novel solutions to challenges. This award is awarded in a spectacular ceremony at the closing segment of the biannual Civil Service Conference. The forthcoming awarding ceremony is scheduled for this Thursday on 12 May 2016. It has become a stimulant catalyst for civil service officers to generate new ideas and to conceive self-help approaches to solving local issues. Nominations for the award are called for every 2 years, and many civil service officers, both in the capital and out islands, compete with submissions. Digitalization of information management and computer automation of staff records by the Civil Service Commission has been the foremost success story of civil service of Maldives. It has a computer network known as Vuga 2, which is connected to all officers for entering staff records, including recruitment, promotion, termination, and qualifications. The network is accessed through internet by civil service officers, and it can update information and look into references instantaneously. This network has enabled cost reduction of paperwork and telephone conversation while saving time and expediting the processing of jobs. All correspondences of the government have been transmitted today via electronic form from one office to another. Documents are processed and referred in electronic form on iPads or laptops at meetings of the Commission, which has enabled paperless document management. Computer automation has also helped to conduct e-learning classes for trainees at distance locations. Furthermore, work is in progress in setting up 2 virtual classrooms at the Civil Service Training Institute, which would use video conferencing or smart solution for trainings to teach units of civil service on far-flung islands. We have already concluded memorandum of understandings with 12 atoll councils to conduct e-learning training courses for their civil servants by means of distance education. Another success story of the Maldivian civil service, which I would like to highlight at this Congress, is the decentralization of public administration or civil service. In the Maldives, we have a homegrown public administration that has evolved over time, and one that has centrally controlled by prime ministers during kingdoms and presidents when the country became a republic. The Maldives has never been a colony, and so there was hardly any intervention by any foreign sources in its self-rule. The situation led to slow modernization and democratization of governance in Maldives, where conservative traditions overruled silent voices and efforts towards democratization. Nevertheless, the dawning of democratic era began with the adoption of a democratic constitution in 2008, which enabled us to take a giant stride towards political and administrative decentralization at local governance. Subsequently, the enactment of the Decentralization Act in 2011 paved way towards decentralization at local governance. It marked for the first time in history of the Maldives introduction of local councils, thereby decentralizing decision-making to the local level and empowering people to have their say on matters that affected their lives. In the meantime, the Civil Service Commission had been preparing to decentralize its administrative functions by building administrative capacity at atolls and island levels. In 2015, the Commission finally dissolved its control in administering human resource management and let each ministry and council to undertake the function on its own. The move had greatly eased the backlog of recruitment and termination, expedited these processes and saved time and money by devolution. The monitoring and evaluation of this process is now overseen by the Commission through a centralized computer network, which is online and have access round the clock. The next social innovation or success story of the Maldivian public administration, which I would like to speak here, is the hybrid model introduced by the Civil Service Commission to overcome short-handedness and skill shortages at civil service offices due to sudden staff termination or lengthy leave of absences. These are frequent issues confronted by many civil service offices, especially those in remote islands, where there is a shortage of qualified employees. Hybrid model is a strategy devised to solve staff shortages by training operational and supervisory staff to become all-rounders with multi-skills and multitasks. To achieve this strategy, in-service staffs are given specialized training at offices faced with staff shortages, making them well-versed and proficient in performing multiple tasks required in substituting staff at middle and lower management of the organization. The strategy is proven to be successful, economical, as well as time-saving. Madam President, Chancellor, eminent speakers, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to briefly discuss the challenges faced by public administration of Maldivian civil service, which call for our attention. The popularity and indispensability of information communication technology for developing and modernizing public administration is beyond doubt in every country today. And we just heard the Chancellor talking about benefits and importance of the ICT in developing knowledge-based society. However, every good thing has its disadvantage. There is a growing concern that rapid usage of ICT is replacing many jobs, compounding to already high employment. For instance, in Maldives, messengers are no more in demand as civil service transmits correspondences through an e-government computer network. Similarly, websites and kiosk information booths are replacing receptionists and telephone operators. Conversely, some critics argue that the widening digital divide between rich and poor countries and urban and rural centers are recycling dependence of developing countries on technologically advanced developed countries rather than achieving self-sufficiency. The experience of Maldivian civil service is no exception to this phenomenon. We have become heavy users of ICT rather than manufacturers, and a large percentage of our limited budget is spent on ICT products and projects. Therefore, we need to be cautious and carefully consider the pros and cons of ICT products before jumping into it in the name of modernization. Another phenomenon and trend that has raised concern in our public administration is the new facet of brain drain in the age of globalization and internet generation. Jobs and education opportunities are rampant today on the internet websites, which attracts hard-trained, rare skills of developing countries to lush jobs in developed countries. Developing states like Maldives spend hard-earned income in educating and training prospective employees for our civil service and private sector. But as soon as they gain experience and become professionals, they are grabbed by developed countries. These countries do not spend a single cent for their primary, secondary, and initial tertiary education, but they get the benefit of their talents. In my opinion, this is a very unfair trade, which adversely impacts the disadvantaged undeveloped countries. Perhaps the matter calls for an international instrument or convention to address unfair brain drain and find a win-win situation where recruiting countries pay for expenses borne by those developed countries who developed talents. In the case of Maldives, we frequently hear of our best talented workers leaving to the Middle East and Oceania in search of attractive jobs with handsome pay and lucrative working conditions. May I also mention another concern here, that many of these countries overcharge for foreign students study in their countries. The justification given for fee increment in these for foreign students are that they are not local taxpayers and are not entitled for subsidized fees. Our country, the Maldives, does not overcharge foreigners for any services they seek in the country, be it education or medical. Therefore, we believe there must be a reciprocal arrangement between countries and shall not unduly extra charge. Finally, the rapid integration of countries in dissolving the rapid integration of countries and dissolving borders in preference of trade in the modern age and adherence to international best principles and practices are eroding the originality and indigenous capacity of countries to resolve local issues on their own. The Maldives is a country which has a rich tradition and inheritance of indigenous knowledge, skills, and methods to address and solve challenges it encountered over the years, seen erosion of these tenets in the face of steep globalization and satellite or digital infiltration of foreign influences. Public administration in the Maldives is not alien to prevalent trends in the world to this effect. We are also forced to adopt expensive digital technologies and replace age-old sustainable and affordable methods, even